Hey guys, and welcome back to Car Collections, and welcome back to another brand new video of my new series called Talking Real Cars. And today I'm going to be watching a Consumer Reports video, Talking Real Cars. It's 58 minutes, I'm not going to watch the whole thing on camera, but I'm going to watch some of it, and I'm going to see if I agree with their favorite and least favorite car of 2026. Of 2025, excuse me. Because this is basically them recapping 2025, what they liked and didn't like. And if you guys don't know, Consumer Reports is basically known for reviewing and testing cars, and they take their testing program very strict and serious. And obviously, if these people say a certain car's not good, they probably have a pretty good reason as to why that is. Obviously, some of this stuff could probably be agreeable, maybe to be nitpicky. But, yeah, I'm just going to go run through this, and then I'm probably going to talk a little bit about a new filming schedule at the end of the video. But let's get right into it. And we're going to start it.
Welcome to Talking Cars. I'm Jennifer Stockberger, and this marks the final episode of 2025. It's all of this happened, so it ought to be good. So let's start with your least favorite.
Okay,
My least
messing
favorite.
up? Least favorite car.
No. See, look at all this.
No,
I got
so you've
scientific.
circled.
So this guy clearly, he's clearly going to be not a statistical person, but like, obviously this decision is going to be very statistic based, because whatever was on paper, like,
Really
I got
did.
scientific, and I went
yeah,
down.
scientific, there we go. So there's nothing wrong with that. I do think that sometimes people are not so, like, looking, or like, I'm not sure if I were buying a car that I'd go so deep into the statistics to the point where I'd say it was bad, but let's see what he says.
Red circles on it.
And I picked out all the cars that I thought were my least favorite.
What were my least favorite? So he narrows it down, basically. So, obviously, they drive basically a ton of new cars a year. It's honestly, in my opinion, hard to keep track. I mean, they drive so many cars a year that it must get to a point where it's like, yeah, did that drive good? Like, kind of have to think a little bit, dive into their memory.
All the cars that I thought were my most favorite. And then I went through and added up all their one-day trip scores and then divided by the thing, and so I kind of figured out, and they mostly kind of ended up with where I thought I might be. But
So you're a bit data-driven.
I'm a numbers guy.
Yeah,
and you know
a
I don't like
numbers
to put a
guy,
number
there
on
we go.
numbers, right?
Statistics,
So
numbers, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just me and other people are not always like that. Sometimes we're just like,
this year I actually would say it's most disappointing, if it's okay to kind of switch
Okay,
it up
let's
a little
see.
bit.
That's what mine is, too.
That's the Toyota 4Runner.
Yeah.
really? That's surprising to me. I don't really agree with this, if I'm going to be completely honest. Doug DeMuro, who I also watch, actually named this car Best Car of Doug Awards 2025. And, obviously everyone's preferences are different, and that's why we have multiple people test out vehicles. I'm a little surprised by this one. Now, generally, I'm not a car tester. I don't get behind the wheels of cars, but what I've heard in my general appeal, I think they did a good job. Like, I think they did a good job redesigning it looks-wise. It looks very good. I think they did a good job kind of keeping that Toyota 4Runner look to it, but let's see what he has to say.
And
Also, if you want to watch the full video, make sure to hop over to the Consumer Reports YouTube channel and finish watching the rest of this video, but let's continue.
when you think about that, the old version, which had been around for a long time,
Yep. Iconic.
was crazy outdated.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they come out with an all-new version. And it ends up with the exact same road test score as before.
Yeah.
Right?
Obviously, a road test score, like, it's a Toyota 4Runner, it's not going to drive like a crossover, and also, it might not be statistically improved, but, this car definitely has some improved things, even if they're not statistically improved, but, like, this car has newer technology, it's less, like, abrupt and truck-like as it was before. It still is kind of like that, but It's definitely a bit better, I think, in that category. The interior, I think, though, is the big shining point with this redesign, in my opinion. But
highly anticipated.
Highly anticipated, and it just drives very trucky.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, that's expected here. I understand where he's coming from, but if you want something that doesn't drive trucky, you're not going to be looking for something in this segment. The 4Runner's in like an off-road / daily driver car, like, it's not supposed to be luxurious, and I think that if you want like a boxy look, but like you don't want a truck-like ride, like you probably want something more like, I don't know, maybe a Land Cruiser. I think that's still a little trucky, but like a Bronco Sport. Obviously, that's not comparable to this. That car's much smaller. But like, you get where I'm going to, where with the trucky thing, which I think is that this car kind of has that in its name. Like, that's what a 4Runner is. A 4Runner, if you're buying a 4Runner and you don't want it to be trucky, then you're just buying the wrong car. That's just, I think, the bottom of the line.
That turbo 4-cylinder in the model we have, the SR5, is just it's loud.
Yeah.
I can't agree with that. 4Runners in Lexus, anything with that powertrain, very loud on startup. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like they could, I wish they had maybe had a V6. Like, I think, I don't know, it's just, a V6 would be, Toyota, like, I don't know, I think a V6 would be a huge benefit to this car, even in the base model.
Vibrations coming through the steering wheel anytime you're accelerating.
I mean, that is annoying. Obviously, although this is off-road focused, a lot of people still daily drive 4Runners. They're not like a Wrangler. So I can see where the issue, or rather, like, upset, why he's upset is what I'm trying to get at. That can be very frustrating to deal with, wheel vibrations. I get that.
The transmission is pretty bumpy in terms of
Bumpy transmission,
the
not
shifts.
great.
Mm-hmm. The ride is bouncy.
Right,
it's very loud inside, partially because of the engine, but also because of wind noise.
I don't think that is a little bit disappointing. I feel like if you were, like, a 4Runner, here's my thinking here. You'd get a 4Runner because you looked at the Wrangler and the Bronco, but they're too, like, off-roady focused, and you want something quieter and more refined. But in reality, does this really give you that?
It's just, and of course the handling is sloppy. I can give it a pass on that, and I get that it needs to be off-roady, right?
Yep.
Even though I think it's fair to say most 4Runner buyers aren't going to take it truly off-road.
Yep.
When you spend this kind of money, you don't want to get it scratched up. But my best example is, I'm
not trying to be rude, but I mean, Wranglers are not cheap either, and people take those things off-road all the time. And when I mean Wranglers aren't cheap, like, we're talking a basic Wrangler is like $45,000. Forget like a nicely loaded up Rubicon, like they're in the $60,000 price range. Same thing with the Bronco. The Bronco is a little bit better pricing wise, but like to get the nice versions that people drive, like they don't see people in base Wranglers. It's not that common. As like people on average, usually people have like the Rubicon at least. Those are definitely expensive. So like I understand that. But at the same time, I mean, Wranglers aren't cheap either, and people take those off-road.
By to do something at the house, and I had the 4Runner there, and he goes, "Oh, the new 4Runner, huh?" He goes, "What do you think of it?" And he goes, "My wife saw it, and she really thinks it looks cool." And I said, "Well, honestly, it drives pretty trucky." Yeah. And he goes, "Oh, she'll stick with a."
I think that's the issue. People see it, and they're like, "Oh, that's awesome, I want one," but they don't actually know, like, this is the thing that I think the 4Runner buyers, they buy it because they think it's cool, they like the boxy look, and then it ends up being terrible on the road. Well, obviously a 4Runner, like I said, if you want a daily driver crossover like experience, maybe you're more so in like a Highlander category.
Under that.
Yeah.
And that's honestly the best choice probably for most people. So it's just disappointing.
Okay.
The way new version.
Right.
Okay.
The Hyundai Ioniq 9 and the BMW X3. But the numbers right here, I mean, look at these. Jim.
Hey, you can't argue with that. There's
with data.
real hard numbers. Right? He could have written...
The numbers, again, not just my numbers, our numbers back up, has the X3.
Yeah.
And No, I'm kidding. It didn't take me hours. So it's the BMW X3.
Yeah.
And I mean, the numbers, again, not just my numbers, our numbers back it up, has the highest road test
You're
score.
not alone with those numbers.
Highest road test score of any small luxury SUV.
Another thing that's interesting does this statistically. I think a lot of people, they actually do it opinionated most of the time. I think the X3 is his favorite.
Road test score, not necessarily overall score, but road test score, which is basically how the vehicle drives and what it's like to live with. Okay, so 2 caveats I'll get out of the way right now.
Yep.
I hate the controls. We all pretty much don't like the controls.
I have to say, BMW has been known for making great crossovers. And really, I think the X3 is definitely interesting. It's a little bit out of BMW's design. They're definitely going for a different approach there. But I like it. I like what they're trying to do. I actually think it looks pretty interesting. I don't love the side profile, but...
I wouldn't say the X3's alone in that.
No.
Cars, yeah.
Too few physical controls, right? So it just makes it more difficult to deal with. And the steering is a little bit light for my taste and tells you very, very little. And that's something that BMW's been dealing with for a little while.
Definitely, I think I can agree with him on his favorite car here. I think BMW does a good job with this crossover space, and this is the Audi Q5, and they're looking for a small luxury crossover, probably some of the best options. I would like to hear from someone else now, because I think they understand the point here. So we're going to fast forward a bit, and...
You're no stranger to Alex Nizick, so it's been a busy year for you, really busy year for you. Some new people on your team, but what stood out for you in our fleet over the past year?
Quite a few. I feel like there were a lot of good cars, but the one I chose was the Toyota Crown Signia. Yeah, I
can agree with this. I think Toyota did a good job with this. I just don't think it's going to sell that great because I'm not sure there's a huge market for something like this. It's unfortunate, but... Like I said, it's unfortunate, but I think generally speaking, it's pretty good. I don't like when automakers do this thing where like they do a Crown and a Crown Signia and they're completely different. Alright, I had to do something there quick, but definitely an interesting pick.
it's kind of like a wagon, which
Definitely.
You know?
People keep saying that, and it's a wagon, but it's just too high. Like, other than that, it looks a little, like, it's not as low as, like, an E-Class station wagon, which you look at it and it's obviously a wagon. And most wagons also have this slopey technique back here, and we don't really see that back here with the Crown Signia.
Well, there's probably the only one. Yeah, the only one. They call it an SUV, but come on, look at it.
I mean, compared to the Venza.
Yeah, I kind of replaced it in the lineup too. Yeah, like its powertrain's maybe not its best attribute in terms of the noise and all that stuff, but I think it looks cool. If you get it in red, go look at it next to the Ferrari Puro Sangway. That's like SUV. You're like, it kind of looks very similar. It's bizarre. So yeah, that was one of my favorite ones. It just drove well, looks cool, and unique.
So dependable.
Yeah, that's it, right?
So
Good fuel economy, all that.
And which one did you opt out of? I don't want to take those keys.
Q6, Audi Q6 e-tron. And
I've
I was almost hesitant to say, 'cause it's actually
heard
not a bad car, but really it was disappointing because it's, and I'm going to get told I'm an EV hater, which is not true, but this one in particular because, you know, it's got all the latest and greatest EV technology on it, right?
I think EVs are overcomplicated. They have to have the newest tech. And I think, unfortunately, the dilemma is that, like, not everybody wants an EV. So if they're forcing people that want new tech to get into an EV, that was how it was for the longest time. We're kind of starting to see that if it will go away. And I definitely can agree. I mean, I've heard some people say whatever stuff about the Audi Q3 e-tron. I've heard people also say that they don't need the controls. And again, EVs, they're known for lack of physical controls. And I think like any brand, I mean, obviously the range is different. Like, the range of controls is different. Like, you have a Tesla with nothing to something with a little bit of controls, but definitely interesting. We're going to fast forward past this now, too, and we're going to see what some other people have to say.
Is our manager of auto testing, and if that doesn't tell you...
Okay, so this guy should probably have a pretty good, I mean, auto testing is basically I mean, that's a pretty big role.
That he's organizing the testing schedule, he's also responsible with his team for keeping all of the test cars going all of the time. So he does a lot of dealer swaps. But John,
It's also probably good because obviously keeping the cars going, you can tell, oh, this car had to come to the shop this many times this year because etc.
what was your favorite car of the fleet for 2025?
Well, I'm a truck guy, so with what we had here, the Dodge Ram would be.
I agree with this 100% except for the powertrain, the Hurricane. Obviously, in 2026, they're fixing this finally. They're going to bring back the Hemi. But the Hurricane engine was not reliable. And if you wanted a new body style Ram, what I would suggest to do is wait till the new Hemi versions come out and then get it. Because, quite frankly, I don't think it's worth risking. Obviously, the Hurricane has many benefits. It has good gas mileage. It's not as loud, which, again, that's probably low to some people, but some people also might like that. However, it has had some reliability issues, and I've heard stories of terrible reliability with these engines. And some people have great experience, some people have bad experiences, obviously. And that's not just with the Hurricane. Like, unfortunately, new Dodge, Ram, Jeep, Chrysler products have just not been doing well, really, for some reason lately. They just seem to have, like, I don't know, they just all seem to have, like, reliability issues. Like, there's no new Jeep product now that, like, doesn't have an issue. Like, we saw Jeep cancel the 4xe lineup because they were causing problems. You know, lemon laws, you know, it's almost always a Jeep that's talked about. Like, I don't know.
Kind of be my favorite.
Yeah, and it does, you know, we talk about the Rams ride and the Rams power delivery. It just does all of those things so well.
Ram is also, I think, the most, like, most luxurious. Oh, least favorite.
Favorite was the Cybertruck.
I understand this to some point, but I don't think people are looking deep enough into what's going on here. I think people look at the looks and are like, oh, that's bad.
I can't get used to the steering wheel. I can't get used to parking the vehicle.
I don't understand that. But obviously, too, I mean, I imagine you need to get used to that. It takes time to get used to anything. I do think that's definitely weird, and I understand where he's coming from with that. But I also think the Tesla Cybertruck has a lot of usability in it that people don't see.
Irritated before I leave the parking lot.
Yeah, the steering ratios just
Yes.
make slow speed very different and awkward. And yeah, I agree with you. I don't think I'm a fan. And again, I go back to, you would think that would leave here a lot because of its stature, and it didn't leave a lot because I think you're not alone in that. So,
Right.
well, thanks, John.
Yes. No problem.
So we welcome Avri Wishograd to the table,
Thank
and
you.
I'm very interested because Avri
228 Grand Coupe.
ah,
This car enjoyed the.
is me capacity. So
Yeah.
what sticks out for you?
So I really enjoyed the 228 Grand Coupe.
I really like the way they refreshed this. I think this car's a little, like, not looked at enough.
Ah,
This car, we tested this car right after a string of big SUVs.
Right.
And it was so refreshing to just get into a small, nimble car that's fun to drive, has really comfortable front seats,
Yeah.
a good powertrain, good handling, and, you know, it was such a breath of fresh air
Yeah.
after all the big cars.
you're a second person who's referenced the BMW seats as
Oh,
being
yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah.
And do you find you don't mind being lower? I think that to me, a lot of people get into a
Yeah,
scenario.
I don't mind it. Of course, it depends on the car.
Yep.
Some cars you can sit low and see just fine. Some you sit low and can't see anything.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with the surrounding. Do you feel like you're in a cave?
Right, right. Yeah, and again, the 228 is pretty small, so
Yep.
you can see out of it okay.
You love the nimble.
Yes, very nimble. Fun to drive.
Yeah, fun to drive. That's great.
Yeah.
And least favorite?
I'm going to go EX90.
Yep.
But
Surprising. Again, another one that Doug DeMauro said was his favorite and is now, I don't know. I don't mind the looks. I don't mind it. But I feel like it's a little, like, it has some, I sat in one at a car show. And, like, I couldn't figure out how to operate anything. The controls were, like, going crazy. I don't know. Definitely an agreeable pick. But I think that's going to do it for today's video. So I hope you all enjoyed today's video. And I would like to discuss my new filming schedule. That going forward, I am probably only going to post on weekends at 8 a.m. That's, I think, going to be the official new filming schedule. No more every other day uploading. I'm taking a break from that for now. once it's the summertime and I have more time to do things, maybe that will change. But as of now, we're going to be doing weekends only. So, Saturday and Sunday videos. Obviously, if there's something that I really want to get posted and don't want to have to pre-schedule, then there will occasionally be some differences, but I'm planning on doing weekend uploading, which was my original plan, and we're going to see how that goes. So, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed Talking Real Cars Episode 2, and I'll see you all here soon in another video. Thanks for watching.